What's good, fight fans? Your Majesty speaking. Um, Today I just wanted to touch on something that I noticed. I've been breaking down this Andre Ward and Crawford interview, and then I also seen a Fight Hub TV interview with Sebastian Fundora. And one of the things I noticed is that Terrence Crawford side differs from what Sebastian Fundora said happened, I guess, as far as negotiations or whatever the case may be, or failed negotiations or negotiations that didn't happen or whatever the case it may have been. But it stood out to me that Crawford has one perspective, Fundora has another one. And it's crazy to me how two people whose teams negotiate can have two totally different perspectives on what happened and why the fight did not happen or whatever the case may be. So I just wanted to allow you guys to hear Terrence Crawford side, and then I'll give my thoughts, and I'll let you hear Sebastian Fundora's side, and then I have some sort of conclusion that I feel will help the situation in the future. So without further ado, this is Terrence Crawford.
I'm like, all right, I want to fight Fundora, because I'm WBO. I can fight anyone in the champions. He was WBC and WBO. So I'm like, I want to fight Fundora. You know what I mean? He got two belts. I want to become undisputed at 154. That was my train of thought. But when he said he didn't want to fight me because I wasn't basically big enough, I looked at him like, huh? I don't sell. That's what his handlers were saying. Oh, I don't sell, and they want to fight Errol Spence because he's a bigger fighter.
But you knew what that was, though.
Yeah. It's cool. I'm not tripping on that because now they begging for a fight. Now they want to fight me now. I don't sell, so there's no need for you to even mention my name no more. Don't say Terrence Crawford.
Yeah.
I hate that fighters jump to conclusions based on what others are saying or whatever the case may be. The same thing happened with Errol Spence when they were in negotiations. I think Errol had said 60-40 split on some radio show, and then the radio show told Terrence Crawford what Errol said, and then it was a big unnecessary blow up. But before I get into my rant or my thoughts on this, let me let you hear what Sebastian Fundora said.
Like, how disappointed were you that fight with Xander Zayas couldn't get made?
And then let me preface this, because in the beginning they're talking about a fight with Xander Zayas, but there's some specific things that Sebastian Fundora says that I need you guys to hear so that when I tie my thoughts together at the end, it makes sense. So he's also going to talk about Terrence Crawford, but I need you guys to hear this part as well first.
I wasn't at the table. They were mentioning things. Look, we fought Booker, and he was the number 4, number 5 for the WBO, and that was supposed to be the defense for the WBO because no one was mandatory at the time. But as soon as that fight happened, they mandated that Zayas fight. So I thought we just defended this title for them. So they had their own plans. I guess that was the plan from the beginning too. I remember after being sued the first time, they wanted us to fight Crawford two months later. Our nose was still swollen. They had no care for the fighter. So they have their own ideas or whatever. The WBO, it is what it is. It is what it is.
One goal for every fighter is to be undisputed. I would imagine that is your goal. You're going to collect all the titles from all the fighters in this division.
Right now, with having a taste of that, it kind of takes it away. Takes that idea away. I'll fight all these guys. But when it comes to those titles, I'm just fine with the WBC.
And I feel like what he said was important, as well as what Terrence Crawford said was important, because the first thing he said, the reason why I played the Xander part is because he said he wasn't at the table. And I think a lot of the reasons why the fights that we want don't get made when they should get made is because a lot of the times these fighters allow their teams to meet and discuss terms, and then they bring back to the fighters what they want to bring back to the fighters. Majority of the fights that we've gotten that we've wanted to see is because the fighters actually talk to each other and just determine, okay, cool, I'm gonna do this, you do this, and then we normally get the fight. We saw that with Manny Pacquiao and Floyd. We also saw it with Terence Crawford and Errol Spence. Shout out to Fred, because I remember Fred on from barbershop conversations saying that they need to sit in the room and hash it out. And I don't know if he gets his credit for saying that, but that's exactly what they did. So I did want to shout that out. But I do believe that when you get to a certain level and these deals are being made, I feel like the fighters need to be in these meetings, because fighters can determine, cool, now you know what, I can give up that to get this, so I can give up this to get that. It sounds to me like Sebastian Fundora beat Tim Tszyu. The WBO, possibly because they have such long history and long ties to Terence Crawford, sounds like they tried to make Terence Crawford happy by forcing a mandatory on Sebastian Fundora, pretty much saying that, yeah, we know you just had a bad nose injury and a grueling fight with Tim Tszyu, but we need you to fight 2 weeks later or 2 months later or whatever the case may be. And to his credit, it's like, no, like, I'm not going to go into a Terence Crawford fight not at 100% or not at my best. And so pretty much F you guys and y'all belt. And this ain't the first time we've seen it. We saw it with Canelo Alvarez when they were trying to force him to fight Triple G when he was at 155 pounds or whatever the hell it was. He didn't want to move all the way up to middleweight, and they tried to force him, and he stopped fighting for the WBC belt for a long time. So I say this to say that Crawford has a totally different perception of what he feels like happened. He's saying that Fundora's team told him he ain't a big enough draw. He's not a big enough attraction, and they want to fight Errol Spence. Not saying that didn't happen, but to fix that issue, if these fighters were in these rooms with their teams while these things were being discussed, a team wouldn't be able to say one thing in the meeting and then go back to the fighter and tell him something else without this fighter knowing. And so my only thing is, I think perspectives in boxing and how fights are perceived to not happen fuck up a lot of the shit that we should be getting in boxing, because pay attention to how Terence Crawford was when he said what he said. Oh, no, it's cool. You ain't got to fight me because I ain't big enough. I don't sell tickets. I ain't this. I ain't that. Cool. Look at Fundora. Oh, no, I don't want to fight for Undisputed. Like, F them belts. I'm cool with just being a WBC champion. And I think that, to me, hurts the sport. In the long run, we never get the fights that we should get when we're supposed to get them. And it's partially because these middlemen and these people in between fucking shit up because of the money that they may not be getting or whatever the case may be. I don't want to speculate, but I do want to keep it a buck. I think when you get to a certain level as a fighter, you should be involved in negotiations. And I'm not saying involved to a point where you tell your team to go in and they come back and tell you, because they can tell you whatever they want to tell you. I think when these conversations and these negotiations are had, fighters at a certain point should be in these meetings, because there's no reason why Fundora has one perspective and Terence Crawford has another one. You see what I'm saying? So I just wanted to shed light on that, because I found it interesting that, like I said, I've been breaking down this Andre Ward and Terence Crawford interview, and I'm actually breaking down a few other ones that I'm going to start, making videos on. But I saw this Fundora one, and I'm like, these stories don't add up. You know what I'm saying? And it's just weird to me. So for future references, I think these guys need to start being involved in these meetings, because it seems like Sebastian Fundora will fight whoever. Andre Ward said, you know what that was? Al Heyman. Al Heyman shouldn't be able to do that, or wouldn't be able to do that if Fundora is in there. If Fundora wants this fight, just like we seen with Errol Spence, no, Al, I'm not fighting nobody else. I'm only fighting this person. We seen Terrence Crawford do it. We seen a lot of people do it. You know what I'm saying? So it's not out of the ordinary for these fighters to force their hand on something that they really want. And I think a lot of the reason why we don't get these fights is because fighters don't really know what is happening behind the scenes. And so let me know what you think in the comments, man. Let me know if you think what I'm saying is legit, if what I'm saying ain't legit. You know what I'm saying? I don't really care. Like I said, I like to talk boxing with people, like-minded people who love boxing. And that's one of the things that I get excited about. But like I said, this was super interesting to me how they both had different opinions on why the fight didn't happen. And I just thought that it was funny that Crawford had this different type of attitude towards it, and Sebastian is not even mad at Crawford. His attitude is more so towards the WBO. But man, like, comment, and subscribe. Also sub to my channel and follow my other social media accounts as you see them in front of you. And until next time.